government got their figures wrong and that SMSF was 4 times higher than what they thought.
Last time I checked, there's about 600,000 transactions that happen in Australia. So how are you structurally, positively supporting your agenda with 4,000?
You could just have one property when you're 30 and you'd be set by the time you're 60.
The world moves in transactions.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's transactions. As soon as you crush something, as soon as you shift the sentiment of something, it temporarily shifts transactions.
Yep.
And transactions have sudden and long economic impacts.
Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Fat Profits Podcast. We have got an incredible show for you today. And I want to welcome all the way from InvestorKit, Arjun Paliwal.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. And look, we've got a lot of fun planned today. We're actually going to do a mega episode across two episodes, 2 conversations. One, talking through, I guess, the early stage of life. And secondly, just talking through where you're going to and where InvestorKit is going at the moment. So it's going to be fantastic. But we always start with a big prediction. And at the moment, I should have welcomed you, Corey.
That's right. I'm an old flame.
G'day, Corey.
Thank you. We're on location again, Benny.
We are in the SFG offices.
SFG. Shout out to SFG.
Shout out. So at the moment, everyone's eyes are on a couple of pieces of data. We've got unemployment. Everyone's got their eye on that. Everyone's looking at interest rates. Are they going to go up and go down? You know, who cares about the crystal ball nose? We want to know about inflation. So got a tip what the inflation is going to be. Next month, August 26th, the data comes out. If you're wrong, there will be a punishment of some form. You've got to tip it. You've got to look into the crystal ball. And so, Arj, we're going to go with you first.
All right, let's go for 3% flat. I think we touched the top of the range and we're coming back down a bit.
Wow.
And driven by some weaker job numbers, unemployment potentially rising depending on the timing of that data set. That's hoping best case, maybe slightly above 3, but let's just call it 3 now. Have a bit of fun with it.
All right.
I think we're going to remain at 3.8. I think we are at the moment, and I think because the fuel excise has been cut.
True.
So I would have thought. I thought we would have been closer.
No, you're locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in. Give me the jar. I need to tip back into where.
So I think some people think it might go back to 4, and we'll see an interest rate rise in November. But yeah, I hope.
In that case, I'll say 4.
Okay, we'll go 4. I'll go 4.
No, I'm saying 4.
Okay.
You're stuck at 3.
What if I just add in this word towards 3? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I like
Am I
it.
safe there?
I like
You can have
Towards
between 3 and 3.5.
Done.
Yeah.
You can have 3.5 to 4, and I'll have a 4 and 4 and
I'm
above.
just going to say the same. That's what I'm going to say.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to be following you back up on it. And if you're wrong, there'll be punishments. The headline of the day that we want to cover and hear your thoughts on is it came out in the last week that the government got their figures wrong and that SMSF was 4 times higher than what they thought. Now, firstly, how does that happen?
Don't know. I think there's almost no words for it, isn't there? What are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, it's just a connection to the previous mistakes. There's more and more just keep coming out every single time. So firstly, just like how I use the towards 3, the government uses consultation is yet to occur.
Yeah.
And this is what we're proposing, but consultation's yet to occur, which is kind of a word to say, we are just having a stab at this stuff, hoping that we've ruffled enough feathers to show strong change, stance, and this is why we're voted here. And then let's just use this word of consultation to come up to help adjust things. But that's the mistakes leading up to it. Example, another one's treasury modelling.
Sure.
2% with treasury modelling, or $2 on the rent rise. I think the treasury, I don't know why, I don't know what's happened, but I think that the chief of the modelling thing is no longer there. They've left, they've resigned.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Just recently as well, and some of the AFR somewhere made a big deal about that, just because of the timing of it.
Next episode of Fat Profits, we need to find that person.
But mainly, I would say there's modelling usage heavily in the wording. There is consultation to occur, and usually just from studying body language, people understanding it, I'm like, yeah, this is a pattern.
Yep.
But coming down to SMSF, I just really think it's rushed. I think it's trying to support the Greens movement that was part of it, and justifying the change quickly and easily, unfortunately, wasn't the right numbers.
Wouldn't you feel noting that the Greens, because I was always a little bit confused why Greens, that was the thing that they picked. You want this to get through. It wasn't save a tree. It wasn't cut the carbon, It was, we want SMSF lending. It was weird that they picked that. But surely they're stoked that it's 4 times higher.
Yeah, so this is where it's interesting. I would say let's now take that 4 times higher and come back to imagining that number never came out. If that number never came out and it was only 4,000, isn't policy change for the big things? Isn't policy change to make structural improvements? Last time I checked, there's about 600,000 transactions that happen in Australia. So how are you structurally, positively supporting your agenda with 4,000?
Yeah.
So 600,000 and 4,000, there's a long way gap there. Now that's 600,000 all transactions, but at the end of the day, 4,000 isn't changing all of Australians' first home buyer or affordability. So when you attack something, ignore the part being wrong. It's that even if it's right, why?
Yeah.
Why not something bigger if you're so righteous and so courageous about your change? It's either that they knew that it was bigger, or either they just rushed a job and justified it and thought that, that doesn't look too bad. If we just have to say yes to that, we'll be sweet.
Yeah.
And they got it wrong.
It definitely had to be a knee-jerk reaction to getting the other things through that they talked about. It was a justification to the market. These are the numbers. So it'll be silent until it goes through. I think that's ultimately what it is.
And
no
I think
forethought.
if I throw one more thing into there, let's just go to the principle of self-managed super fund. The first 2 words in that is self-managed. Do you not want a country where people are self-managing their financial future and retirement? Because if we're thinking of the core issue here is we also have budgets having poorly managed, outcomes. And if you want to talk about a big issue that's happening in Australia is the years, not just the budget event, the years of public job infrastructure beating private jobs. Public, it just doesn't make sense in any long-term strong economy that taxpayer-funded jobs outpace private, whether it be percentage growth or sheer volumes. It's just not the way. And so when I think about self-managed and when I think about public spending, pension is one of the biggest impactors to it. And if you have a massive pension bill down the track, which we know, not even from a fault of governments, that's one component, but if we have no fault, just from a demographics data set, the 2030s and 2040s are going to be the highest escalating in Australian history of the aging population. And so even if we say we had the greatest government ever and everything was perfect, that alone is ready to cause damage. And if that's going to cause damage and you on top of that want to inflict damage on people trying to not be on the pension and going to smash the resources there, then you are doing a poor job from that perspective.
Putting that aside, adding in the other compounding issues for the elderly now and people that will become elderly, super funds aren't managed. Financial planning's for the wealthy. That's usually where people would start going and having the conversation about self-managed super fund or a super fund or how your investments are happening. And I don't know about you. Obviously, you grew up in New Zealand, but growing up in Australia, it was how to be self-funded when you retire. How do you avoid the pension? That is the lowest hanging fruit. I feel you could just have one property when you're 30 in there, and you'd be set by the time you're 60. The transition to retirement process could be very, very, very do very well for anybody trying to transition into the retirement and avoid the pension completely. It's wild.
Do you think the popularity of this kind of policy, because I would have thought it would be in the government's best interest, to reflect on what you're saying, it's in the government's best interest to have people self-reliant when they get to their retirement. And a super fund may do that, but if people want to do that through property, it would also do that. So you would have thought it was in their best interest. However, do you think that this kind of thing gets popularity because we have an increasing attitude that the government should fix problems in society, the government should fix problems in my personal life, and increasingly we're looking to the government to fix stuff, so these kinds of policies make sense in that kind of environment?
Younger demographic,
So whenever I think about if it makes sense of environment, even in the environment part, let's go back to how a government is looking at it from the voting system. And just the fact is that, yes, that voting base is rising. The younger population that's rising in importance, especially that's the opposite of the aging population too, is that kind of disappear after a certain age, and that kind of keeps moving along. But right now, that population group is still not big enough to make the difference that the government thinks from a voting perspective. So it baffles me that even from a voting perspective, it actually numerically is not the right decision to make.
Yeah.
Because it will be in 10 to 20 years. But remember, we don't move in 10 to 20 year government cycles. This isn't some long dictatorship that stays there forever.
Thankfully.
Like, you know,
The Albo youth.
it is someone who has a 8 year run, depending on renewals there. And so I think from a voter base, they're just off anyway. So even if they're playing from this is the move to make, usually there's some interest. And if I think of an interest, it's to stay elected, to be re-elected, and then there's the very few to make meaningful change. Right? When meaningful change happens, you can make change in a short-term cut, start, stop, like just very much a big knee-jerk thing, which is what most do, because they know that my cycle of leadership time is so long. My stakeholder influence of who I can get to be on the same page with me for maybe a fast rail project that truly transforms transport and project. It's going to be a big time, multiple terms. I don't want to be the person that half started, never got credit for anything. And so therefore I don't invest or think of big job-changing, life-changing things. So maybe, they'll make some quick cuts here. But the more important thing I think is that if it's not the voter base, and if it's not the actual impact on transaction volume, because they said it was 4,000, what else is there behind the scenes? And I feel like last 6 years, 7 years globally has shown, whether it be conspiracy arch coming out here, whether it be the Fauci's in the USA trials that's happening now because he said it was safe, and then you're now seeing data come out on miscarriages and reporting impact there of women impacted from boosters and other things like that. What I'm learning more and more as time goes on and I move from a kid to the 20s to the 30s is there are so many self-agendas out there. And in most circumstances, major change with knee-jerk, not well thought out, has a self-agenda hidden somewhere. I'm not saying that it's the case blatantly because I just don't know enough. But what I do know is that life as you age is teaching you that people look for shortcuts. And often in politics and in governments, whether it be the unions, the super funds, or someone else saying, hey, we can give you consulting fees here or look after you here or do something here. Something's happening somewhere for data to be so off, decisions to be so knee-jerk, things to be so last minute. Someone's got to be winning somewhere else for them to do this.
No, I agree.
Sorry I said the thing that maybe people don't want to hear us say, but
we're good with that.
I think what you're doing is you're not adequately, I think you are well analysing the situation. We don't know. There's a big question mark for, I think, anyone who knows anything. There's no one I've talked to who's not sitting there going, huh? Yeah. And the only people who seem to be going, yeah, this is all good, are people who have taken probably at face value the story that's been given. And I think all of us are just going, it's never that simple. Because it doesn't make sense in line. Even if they said it's 16,000 homes, I think we all would have gone, that's still not how is that moving the needle?
Absolutely.
When this is simply a vehicle for people to take back control of their retirement and get the ball back in their own court.
In some people's case, the only opportunity to ever get property. We talked about the person a month ago. I had a few inquiries. There was older people that were 45, 50, never owned a property, but have worked like a dog since they were 15 as an apprentice, have $300,000-$400,000 in their super, and that was their only chance. Only earn $80,000 a year. They're not buying a property to get into property. Put aside just like the question mark. There are so many things. There are so many people that are missing out because of this. And again, it's going to be things that are unmanaged. And I think for the younger voter, it's become a social issue versus an actual proper educational conversation on what it can actually do and what it actually will do for the nation if people can be self-funded.
And a side effect of these changes, not just super, but just broadly constant changes, trying to play Robin Hood.
Yeah.
You know, that is not the way to long-term structural prosperity. Prosperity happens through creating, not cutting.
Correct.
And so cutting, if you are going to look in the mirror and let's cut the certain spend in certain areas that isn't right, but cutting things off others is not the way forward to any good life, any good karma, any prosperity. Doesn't happen like that. You just think of the interconnectedness of industries.
Yeah.
Finance, accounting, property, conveyancing. Then off the back of that, you have pest and building, trades, renovations, everything in this world, not just this country. Don't think it's an Australian thing. In this world runs on transactional support.
Yeah.
Now, the transactions have good reasons, whether it be upsize, downsize, investments, rental, movement here. When transactions get smashed, you actually, from a net level, the amount of households that will go and buy in this window of low sentiment is nowhere near the impact of negative impact of the amount of households that will have job cuts, redundancies, stress from employment performance, business insolvencies, business consolidation. Everything happens in transactional acts or chopping blocks more. And the net effect of that impact is actually worse than the effect of a few people going, I got this.
I was on the Australian unions because they were crowing about the SMSF changes, like this is the best thing that ever happened. And I said, firstly, the SMSFs I've done recently have been for 20-year-olds. They're like, straight up, I call you a liar. And okay, all right. The second thing I said was their entire banks, like you said, conveyancers, businesses, accountants, who their primary role was SMSF. That's gone now. And who do you reckon is going to get fired from those jobs? Is the entry-level jobs. Young Australians are going to be the people who lose their job first. And you know their response was, I don't believe you.
And you want to take it one step further? When the conveyancing team has a team of 8 versus a team of 4, what produces more spend in the economy? A team of 8 going out for lunch or a team of 4? A team of 8, catching Ubers? People don't understand the impact of interconnected industries. There's direct impact and there's indirect impact. The world moves in transactions. Whether you like it or not, it's transactions. This is just a type of transaction being housing, but there's also other types of transactions where it's coffees, where it's everything is transactions. The world circulates. And as soon as you chop something, as soon as you crush something, as soon as you shift the sentiment of something, it temporarily, depending on how long it goes, it shifts transactions. And transactions have sudden and long economic impacts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, we could probably talk about that for a long time. But we do want to do, and every time we do a little bit of a like-dislike to get to know you, because we want to talk about a little bit about your journey. So firstly, we're going to do some likes, dislikes. You just got to say like or dislike to whatever I say, okay? So first one is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Like.
Interstellar.
Dislike.
Oh, okay.
Wow, you're the first person I've ever met who did not like it.
I can tell you some eyes on it after. But
all right. Look, you're going to get some kickback. I think you'll be explaining that one on social media. Bushwalks.
Dislike.
Public transport.
Like.
Diet drinks like Diet Coke.
Oh, like.
You're
Coke
in?
Zero.
Coke Zero is your...
With lemon. Squash the lemon in there.
Oh.
You go
next
to
level.
Coke Zero.
Not throw the lemon in there. Remember, all the bars,
squeeze
just
it.
throw it. Squash it first into the ice, then the Coke Zero.
I love the Pepsi Max with lemon or lime, or something like that. Nice.
I don't get why they don't squish it before.
No,
why put it in?
Like,
Why put it in?
I'm pretty sure no flavor profile flows off just by leaving it in.
Very little.
Not that I noticed,
So look, we want to get to know you. Tell us about where you come from, your early years. Talk us through like what it looks like.
Yeah, so
pre-20s.
Pre-20s. I'll go even a quick further back than that. I'm born in Housing Commission in Wellington, New Zealand. We had a joke because the actual housing block was next door to the zoo. But instead of saying, I live next door to the zoo, we would make fun of ourselves and go, I live at the zoo.
Right.
Because our block was the zoo. We were the zoo, like with the rowdy kids. So born and brought up there. My dad's a mechanic. Mum was a housewife. And I have two brothers. And basically, Wellington, New Zealand, went through the ranks of school. But with school, my parents had no means putting me in private school. Basically, every single dollar of the dad's mechanic paycheck went to chucking kids into better education.
Incredible.
And then after a year, got a funny joke on this one. I was in New Zealand. I was in New Zealand growing up, and one thing that's proven, I can tell you, when households split, and it wasn't split because of divorces or anything, is that my dad, and it's common in the Indian families for sure, maybe some other ethnicities, the father moves somewhere first. He tries to set up a job, gets a rental, gets that, saves a bit of coin, gets a bit of experience, and then goes, Mum, come over, kids come over. Or sometimes one of the kids come over, then the other kids, Mum, you ready to come over with the rest? Let's go. Right. So this is very common amongst Indian families. So Dad moved over to the ditch. Business was a bit slow in New Zealand. Then he moved over here, got his job fixing up trucks and cars and all that. I had a 2-bedroom apartment in Westmead. And I was causing Mum a lot of trouble. And this is proven when households split, the kids will often cause trouble to the mum. You know what I mean? And especially the boys. So the boys would cause a lot of trouble to Mum. I'm going out, partying was much more than what I should be. And then my mum's like, you got to get this guy over. And so my dad goes, hey, easiest get over. He goes, Arj, I'll give you a 4-wheel drive if you come on over to Australia. And so I tell my mates in uni, I was
How old were you?
17,
Right.
18.
You weren't like 10.
I was 18.
Tonka truck.
18 maybe. Yeah, 18 actually. And I tell my boys, hey, I know my 1 year of uni with you guys was great fun, shooting hoops, all that sort of stuff, doing a bit of studies. Just P's get degrees was the saying. We just pass and you get over.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm off to Australia. They're like, what are you doing there? They're thinking this grand opportunity. I'm like, oh, my dad's got me a 4-wheel drive. Come over. It's a Daihatsu shitbox. And he just basically goes, Arjun, it's got 4 wheels and it drives. And then I'm just like, oh, come on. He's holding the whole surprise to me. Typical dad joke. Had to like roll the windows up and down.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then I'm just like, all right, man, I just realized that moment I was spoiled to think like I just, 4-wheel drive is my way to come over. But no, I come over. We're in a 2-bedroom ex-housing commission block in Westmead. At one point, it gets to 9 people staying in that property in a 2-bedder.
Wow.
Good fun times. There are mattresses across the floor. Your little cousins there, your cousins there, and your brothers there, and everyone. And then as time goes on, I kick off my first job here in Australia as a bank teller.
The best bank in Australia.
And so CBA tattooed on my chest.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. And then I kick off as a bank teller in Parramatta. I get very curious about money. I get very curious about lending. I think I was the most annoying person in our team because I kept asking every person questions non-stop. Then also felt pretty cool holding stacks of cash as the boy from the housing block, Then I just worked up the ladder with curiosity, took a bit of a gap here in uni, and then through that curiosity realised moving quickly as one of the youngest branch managers in Australia at the time at age 20, from 18 to 21. And really, if I fast forward to today, it was combining curiosity, seeing others achieve financial success, not just doing my job, but realising there's things that you can gain from doing a job, knowledge, ask questions because they have no choice but to answer it. Just like in the world of finance, you guys can ask a question. It's like, hey, if you don't answer, I can't get your app through. I need to know this info. Yeah. And you learn. And one person just learns to do the job. One person learns to be better. And I took that path to be a better investor and then eventually build a company.
It's a lost art of adding value. If I had $1 for every time I read an employee going, I want to take from this business rather than I want to add value to this business, it's the lost art at the moment.
Sorry to cut you off. You mentioned you made a joke about your dad's accent. So I was actually going to ask, was your dad born in Wellington as well? But when did your parents come over? Was it just before you were born?
I said maybe like the 80s. Dad moves over to New Zealand, so I'm born in 92. And so I would
Eldest,
say
youngest,
middle.
Middle.
I'm the middle child. Yeah.
It's okay.
So we have a very interesting dynamic amongst the kids. So my dad is the one that goes, no one's my favorite. And back in the day would give everyone a hiding if one person did something wrong. So it's just like there's everyone's fault.
There's always a favorite.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Ankit, my younger brother, don't swear. Arjun, you get a slap. It's like everyone has to be like, But then there's the goods. The other weird dynamic was like you'd go up to my mom and you'd be like, hey, so mom, who's your favorite? Oh, Arjun's definitely my favorite. So like you'd have like funny dynamics in my household. The mum would just blatantly tell you, I'm not equal. I just love my middle son's my boy, and maybe she was a middle. That's why. And then my dad's like everyone's equal in the goods and the bads.
Yeah.
So we had a funny dynamic.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Now, look, you grew up next to the zoo. I've got to ask, was there ever an escapee? Like, because I grew up in Grafton, and I was 2 blocks from the maximum security jail, and people used to get out all the time.
I think, frankly speaking, look, I think we were the escapees. I think we were the kids running around causing havoc, like
Were
getting
you
out of our
throwing
block.
stuff in the zoo?
Nah, look, it was a bit of a walk up, but we could hear, fun fact, some lions roaring from time to time. So that's pretty epic.
That's
to go, you live in like a major capital city, Wellington, New Zealand, and it's like a lion roaring, and you could hear that.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool, man.
And so were you branch manager at Para?
I was a branch manager across 3 branches. So we had this tiering system in CVA.
yeah.
So the tier 3 meant entry-level branches. Tier 2 was bigger teams, and tier 1 was the biggest. So I started off in Surrey Hills. Then I went to Newtown.
Yeah.
And then I went to a tier 1 being Marrickville.
Yeah, right. So I never knew how the branch world, because I was always in
the corporate office.
the corporate office, at 150 George, and I was always like, we always like our branch people.
Yeah.
Those
It happens,
guys.
Wow.
man.
Okay. Do you guys need to chat that one out?
They probably felt the same.
Well, I mean, fun fact, if you want to know another story on the branch world, is that I, humbly had the most accolades you could probably had in the branch world.
Yeah,
we had
that's
something called the Best of the Best Conference, Ultimate Success. I've been there 2 times. Multiple, maximum potential bonuses that you could be reaching, and promotions every year as quickly at being a branch manager at 20 and being one of the youngest tier 1 managers at say 23, 24.
Yeah.
And at that time I'm an open book. I was probably earning near double 6 figures as a 23, 24-year-old.
Yeah.
But the main thing I want to highlight is that the fun point of calling the head office for my first ever attempt to cross the bridge to go, hey, I think there's a bit of a queue here for the next barrier of growth, 16, 17 branch managers to 1 area manager. And the area managers were getting the grey hairs. So I thought, hey, you know what? It's going to take some time to get there. Let me go into the head office. And no interviews are happening. No next stages are happening. No progress was happening. I was like, I need to know why. And the old, you're just the branch manager. Kept coming back. It was a separate, they just want to separate you.
It was definitely a thing. It was definitely built in the cult. CBA, I love you. It was definitely built in the culture. It was like branch are different, then there's corporate.
Yeah.
But even in corporate, there's different stakeholders, and it was
100%.
It's interesting to see
It'll
how
be
it
every
works.
organisation.
Yeah.
And look, it wasn't actually until I got my MBA done. And then I started applying for similar roles. I had some people that started, connecting the dots that I knew, relationships.
Yeah.
And then I got the crossover.
Yeah.
So it's funny what that difference a year later with the piece of paper made.
Yeah.
And I can
Crazy.
assure you, I wasn't completely much smarter a year later just because I did my MBA.
Yeah.
So therefore, the paper holds weight.
It was the door.
As you move into corporate world.
Yeah, it was the door open.
Yeah.
So, how old were you when you got married?
26, I think.
Okay, so a lot happened in 8 years.
Yeah.
Now, I look at your social media and I look at what you're putting out. It's very clear to me that you're not, that your priority is family, your clients, your staff, that there's a genuine care. But how do you balance that in being a greedy capitalist? That's a joke. It's very clear that you're not the greedy capitalist. How did you get to the point where that was such a priority? Family, my clients winning is a priority for me. My staff winning is a priority for me. Where did that come from?
Look, I feel when people don't have a lot in their earlier years, there is honestly 2 ways you can go. You're usually in extremes. You often hear the lotto winning story and how many people get broke. So when you don't come from somewhere and you have those 2 extremes, you can either be very grateful, humble for everything and want to do something with it, or you can just have a good time, like a seriously good time. And so I just am fortunate from the family values, from what mum instilled, from dad instilled, dad's hard work, mum's generosity, that I just happen to fall on that side. So I won't take any self-credit for doing that. I just think you are who there is. So I believe there's no such thing as being self-made. There is no such thing. Anyone talks about rough stories coming up, there's no such thing. Along the way, you met someone that opened the door for you. You met a mentor. You met a coach. You met the boss that gave you the job. You met someone that gave you a chance. You started the business. Someone said, I'll use you, when they could have just not used you. And like no one in first year or second year of what they do in life or business was ever that good that they could topple the best. But still someone gave you a chance.
Yeah.
So I feel like you owe your whole life success to others. All you do as an individual in terms of your ability to get more of it is learn from mistakes, work bloody hard, and then collaborate with others. And a combination of those three will end up getting you closer to your goals. So I think in terms of where that's come from, all of that sort of stuff, and how that's kicked off for me and how you get that perspective, it comes from family and the surrounding values that you have. It then comes from, just realizing that it's not you, it's others that make you successful, and it's just what you take out of that and do something. And that's my thoughts.
But you could, surely there was a moment where you go, the other way looks fun. Like, surely there has to be some level of decision you made. Because I know in our industry, there's a lot of people who are just living up and they're going, I don't have a moral problem with it. It may not be a moral problem to you, but surely there's got to be a level where you made a conscious decision, no, family for me, and looking after clients and doing these kinds of things. Because we're hearing some stories from people around you in our investigation that you've gone over and above a number of times for clients.
Yeah.
And that's the story around you. You didn't have to.
Even at personal detriment.
Yeah. There has to be the moment where you go, I don't have to do this. And as much as you grew up in an environment that caused that, surely there's been times where you've been tempted not to.
Yeah, it's a really important question. So, firstly, I think it comes back down to, so have I had the moment? The short answer is no, it hasn't. And the reason why I can just comfortably say that is because there are things that people do it for. And if I actually look at the simple answer to it, is like, what is a good day to someone and what is winning to someone? And if that definition to someone is, I want every toy in the world, I want to go to every place, I want all of these things, and I want to do this, and I want to, live life to the fullest, or whatever they use just to like normalize that, there usually is so much I built into that there's so much of like distance, how far you can take that everything along the way in pursuit of that can sometimes mean nothing. And so for me, if you asked me like, dude, what are some of your favorite things to do? Turn on the fireplace, have a hot cup of tea, be at a cafe somewhere in the world in a place you've never visited, some good scenery and someone's playing a bit of music on, old couple come out dancing a bit, then you grab your missus and you do the same and you have a bit of fun, or you have a bit of sparkling water, you're sitting back and you just have one of those tables in Turkey where it's like facing out rather than you're sitting and facing people and you're just people watching and chilling. You're playing a bit of video game, playing UFC, playing Call of Duty, playing NBA. Your kids are running around and you're just throwing shit at them, they're throwing shit back at you. So like I just find so much joy in just like normal stuff. And then I've also come to realize from a couple of nice things I've gotten in life that they wear off on you really quickly. Like very few people would admit this, and I'm happy to admit this. My dream home is already wearing off on me. And like I'm conscious that to the outside person that is someone else's dream and wish. And I'm not going to have, lack of humility around that. I'm very grateful for that. But I get moments even today, and it's only been 3 years. In November will be 3 years since my dream home, 5 acres, northwest of Sydney. And then I just realized that just proves to you that whatever you do for yourself will wear off.
Yeah.
But you know what doesn't wear off? Is 2 cousins and my 2 kids waking up every morning, running and playing, all of the same age. You know what doesn't wear off? Me jumping in the ride, my brother driving, I'm in passenger princess, and we're just having a chat, chilling, driving an hour 10, and just hanging out with your bro, listening to mad music like you're in high school again, and you're just chilling, and you're doing some work, you're doing some emails, and having a good time. What doesn't wear out is Monday night, and there's 14 of us on a dining table, and my kids are throwing food around. My dad's feeding one kid. I try to feed them. They don't want to do it. Then my dad does it, and he always proves that he's the better dad. And then another,
Still got it.
You know what I mean? What doesn't wear out is that the sun's just coming down enough. It's a Saturday. You invite a few of your, mates and business partners over to your fireplace, and then like you're enjoying it with them. So just think of like every single super cool moment was usually with someone else doing something there. So I just feel like as a result, I've never really cared too much for my thing. And what drives me to keep going that can be the whole, well, why aren't you like that? Is like, I feel, and I know this might sound a bit corny, but I want to go to the end of life and just know that I tried to get to this wall of my potential. And whether potential is measured in financial success or whether it's impact, whatever it is. And I just want to know, I talk about this concept. I want to feel like I've got a sledgehammer. I'm breaking through all these walls of my growth. I keep breaking through, and I just want to reach a wall where I just keep, and it doesn't work. Drop the hammer, back against the wall, slide, and I've visualized this many times. I'm sliding down, I sit on the floor, and it's like, is it? You reach your potential. It doesn't have to be the highest ever bajillionaire, trillionaire. It just has to be my potential.
Yeah.
And I just need to die knowing that.
It's great.
That's kind of like my internal motivator.
Purpose.
And you've had, and look, we've talked about purpose a lot. That, wealth on a bad purpose, bad. Wealth with no purpose is bad. But wealth when there's a good purpose and there's a good heart behind it, Corey and I have often talked, they're the people we want to work with. People who go, there's a purpose here. I don't just want to get rich so I can buy 15 jet skis, and that's really been important for us. But as well as that, you've gone through some pretty challenging times. There's been some big challenges even in the last couple of years for you. How about you talk us through what that looks like?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, I think on a personal front, I was born with a few health conditions that I didn't know about until I'd applied for life insurance and been declined for cover. And so when I got declined for cover, I realized I had a heart issue and I needed emergency open heart surgery. Very complex double valve replacement, needed to get open heart surgery sorted. And life flashes genuinely before your eyes. Like you're sitting there, you're questioning what you do, you wake up and you have a moment and you're like, should I just let go of 90% of my staff and just let them know with as much grace, as much, timeline, notice periods. It isn't until 2 months of my surgery. Find your options. We'll work it through, and I'll just take care of all remaining customers. And something could happen to me, and then refund this, take care of that, and do this. Do I not? Do I grow prolifically? Do I grow the business so it can run itself, manage itself, have leaders and have leaders of leading leaders? And then this is the chance. So you're waking up in thoughts all the time. Obviously, there's no shortage of challenges in growing a business as well. That's been growing 50 to 100% for 8 years in a row and was AFR's 17th fastest growing company last FY, or the last recorded FY, 24-25.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. So it's just been a lot of challenges in life, business, health, everything happens, and you just work through it.
And I want to come back to the heart surgery, mate, because obviously we had dinner a few weeks ago. You said the reason why you're so passionate about personal insurance is because of how you found out being knocked back, and the process of you ignoring phone calls from the doctor because you're just living your life. It's pretty crazy. The story's crazy. He's brushed over it. It's tell us a little bit why you're so passionate about personal insurance, which is 100%. not an income thing. It's people can find out some life-changing things and get it sorted.
Look, I mean, it's here's how it started. There was a financial planner who'd used our services for property investing many times over. And I have this thing where I believe in like karma, just like giving back as much as possible when someone gives to you. So he's constantly supporting my business. I'm the lousiest for financial planning referrals because it's this hey, use the property or go in shares. And so it's like, hey, we're here from a bias that exists to help property, and I can't advise on that. So I'm not going to advise you on shares, and I'm going to help you with property. So there's the bias there. But then there's that guy who doesn't have to do that. And every single time he's like, you want a property? Go speak to InvestorKit. You want a property? Go speak to InvestorKit. So I'm like, this is such a good dude. And then he used us for himself. And I'm just like, how can I help you? Could you do insurances for us? Because big mistake with SMSFs right now, people will forget to actually have their coverage rolled over.
Yes.
And that was me.
Yeah.
I, as a result, did not have any cover. It lapsed. So I thought, let's just take out insurances. Now, as a result of that process, because of my weight and height, I needed to do tests. And I'm like, oh, good, I'll do tests. Do the tests, I mean, should be fine. Feeling good, shooting a few hoops on Saturdays, let's do it. The test basically comes back to do more tests, because something was showing up in my heart. And then it got to the point where they were trying to call me. Anything as an O2 number, I rarely pick up. So I'm just like, I'll leave it. Another number, private, blocked, I'm busy as. Police knocks on my door. Welfare check for Arjun Paliwal. I'm like, welfare check? It's like, yeah, your doctor's been trying to call you all the time. I'm like, doctor, okay, that's the O2s. They're like, yeah, you got to rush to Rouse Hill and see them there and go, there's something about, you checked up on your health. We just got to call in case something had happened to you. And I get to the doctors and he's like, Arjun, Irish accent, is like, mate, your heart's a bloody miracle, mate. And then I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I don't know how you're standing, Arjun. And I'm just like, what? And he goes, you see this? Meant to be 45 to 55 millimeters. We do studies on stuff with 60s. You're 72. Your heart's inflated massively on this left diameter of the ventricle or something there. And it's because you've been having blood leak back into your heart. So it pumps, but it doesn't shut, and it just pumps back in, and it goes in the heart rather than pumps, shuts.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, so, and he goes, have you been feeling puffed and all that? I'm like, dude, I'm a big guy. Of course I feel a bit puffed. And he goes, but have you, and then I'm just like, no, I'm good. Otherwise I'm good. And he's just like, okay. What about dizziness? I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, man, the body's adapted, hasn't it? I'm like, well, if I'm born with something, you'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
And then he just goes, well, we need to get you in surgery next Tuesday. I'm like, oh, shit. And he goes, yeah, we're going to cut you open. We're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, I need to take an opinion. So obviously I went through that. And then they're all saying it's pretty bad. So as a result, I'm super, super passionate about. The most random thing someone could be passionate about is life insurance. And I am now the most life insurance advocate ever with two thoughts. You get coverage and you got protection for your family. Or maybe you didn't get coverage. My business didn't make any money. You did a test and you found out you had some shit going wrong I did.
Yeah.
I'm not covered again. I can't be covered. But at least I found out, fixed my stuff. My family's good. We're good. We're building something. I'm back at life. So,
That's awesome. Wow, that's a crazy story. Look, we're going to have another episode and we're going to delve into the business side of stuff. So make sure if you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, but we do an investor story. And what we want to ask you is take us through what you'd be saying to a 15-year-old in 2026 who was in your shoes. Maybe, I don't know what it was like growing up in Housing Commission in Wellington, but there would have been a bunch of narratives that are in your head or stereotypes even about where you were going to go and end up in life. But what would you be saying to a 15-year-old you if they're living in 2026 and seeing everything in the news saying the future's bleak?
So if I'm going to go to 15-year-old of today, the 15-year-old of today has more vices, more opportunities, more everything that 15-year-olds in 2026 have more extremes available to them on all ends of life. You can go and have more crap in front of your face in the digital world. You can have more cyberbullying. You can have more trends changing every 3, 6, 9, 12 months constantly. Yep. You can have all this just stuff, way more. So I think it's harder for the 15-year-old of today to get out of the matrix of craziness than it was for the 15-year-old of before. So I do think that we had it easier as 15-year-olds.
I'd agree.
But the 15-year-olds of today have way more opportunity.
It's true.
The digital world means you can literally take over the world. You can actually crush your goals. You can make an impact. You can go for whatever's important to you. So what I would say is find someone, not the thing. find someone you're so inspired by and make that inspiration so high up that it ain't you catching them with the next good deed you do, but you'd have to stack on till you're like at that aspiration. And then you follow them, see what they do, see how they do what they do. Do you still like them? Do you still want to?
Yeah.
Okay, now you get one layer removed, which might be Australia's version of that person. Then you might have your local area of that person. And then you have you. And if you just keep crossing the bridge, whether that's, and be connected, like as in health, marriage, family, everything. So I talk about Grant Cardone. Never stops, talking about the impact his wife's made. 2 daughters, talks about, it brings them into life, the journey of the business, talks about like his business partners in a certain way, talks about the effort you should give life, invest in himself, invest in his future, has education, all these things. Now, I don't know everything about the person, but I know enough about the person to go, is the fittest he's ever been at 60? So like there's all these aspirational things. Some I'm building to, some I'm not there yet, some I'm nowhere near there yet. But like I feel like by having that North Star in my career, I then had the versions until it got to the local. And I just feel like that is so helpful because you've got a compass. So if I'm giving advice to a 15-year-old, is find that North Star of a person, use the advantages you have that they didn't have back then, and keep having all parts of you aligned in that way. Health, wealth, relationship, family, aspiration, career skills, everything. And just you have your local hero, you have your country hero, you have a global hero. And then these people just align on values.
Yeah.
Like then you just have no confusion. Because if you have people that you're listening to, like the Grant Cardone jokes about the Grant says, get leverage, get debt, scale, and make an impact. Dave Ramsey says, don't touch debt. So could you imagine having 2 not aligned people in values?
Yeah.
They both made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But one dude says, don't, risk, and still made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then one person goes, do. So I think paralysis of who you listen to, shut that out, follow one, go all the way, and just health, wealth, relationship, business, success, career, and you'll follow on.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Now we do go into the scenario of the week, which this week we want to just ask about your first investment. Do you still have it?
I do not have my first investment still. I have my first property. Actually, technically, I had it as an investment a little bit to begin with. So, no, I don't actually. I just thought about it then. Sorry, man. I just went back and forth. I'm trying to remember everything.
Tell us about your first investment. Do you still have it?
Yeah. I don't have my first investment. No.
Okay, so what was it? Where was it?
My first investment, technically, a property I bought was in Glenwood, northwest of Sydney.
Yep.
$970,000 purchase price in 2015, age 22. I was on 100 and something K. My wife was on 100K. And me, my wife, my parents all moved together. Parents helped a little bit with the deposit because we're all living together in one home. We took care of the whole loan and the rest of the deposit and stamps. And then basically that was the first one.
First home buyer grant?
No, out of the price range, 970.
Of course.
And
now, this is a lost art.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it a bit. But this is a cultural thing. Australians hearing that.
Yeah.
And hear me when I say Australian, but young people would go, I'm not moving into a house with my parents.
Yeah.
But that is a great way to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not in a white Australian culture, but it is such a cool thing. And right across the world, you go to Italy, Greece, Europe, Asia, that's what they're doing. They're buying as families and they're living in...
I think the main thing people just need to understand is that there's social credibility and then there's life credibility.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Life credibility gets no bonus points for you moving out prematurely. Social credibility may,
So good.
but life doesn't. So like you
Very
don't
true.
like, and you know, unfortunately, the sad reality of the world is that even if you didn't like it before and you frowned upon it, the way the world's moving, it's probably going to be more forced upon you anyway.
Yes. So
it's just a sad truth, but it is the truth.
Yep.
And it's not sad if you look at it with a different glass.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Half full versus half empty.
So you were able to live in it for a while, then move out?
No, I stayed there. So lived in there, bought 2 investment properties in Brisbane, maybe a couple more, and 2 to 3 in Brisbane in 2016 and 17. And then, moved out and rent vested in Parramatta.
Wow.
So I went out to the Crown building in Parramatta.
Oh, yes.
Rent vested there for a bit.
Well, don't talk too much because we won't talk about the rest in the next podcast.
Let's do it.
So I'll cut you off there. But okay, so you end up selling that one off and using that one down the track.
I did. That's
Yeah,
right.
cool. All right, we'll talk more about that. Now, for the sponsor of the week, obviously we have TGM and our accounting and Source Financial. But we always call out there because, obviously we get emails and calls. It's just running wild, the amount of people
sponsors,
going, all the sponsors lining up. And we're just like, no, Ferrari, no, we don't want to work with you. But is there a Sydney food outlet? We're in Sydney a fair bit now. Is there a place that really, we could promote them? There'd be a bit of a symbiotic relationship, or what is that the right word? It doesn't matter. But is there a local food outlet that you like that you reckon we should be sponsored by?
Oh, totally. There is an Indonesian joint just right in front of our office in Sydney on Clarence Street. It's called Aroma.
All right.
And I think they literally know exactly the same order me and Jack, go and do every single time.
All right.
Aroma's it.
All right.
Nice.
The best beef
We're calling
rendang.
you out.
Best beef rendang you've ever had.
Oh, I like
We'll
beef
give you a
rendang.
shout out on Fat Profits podcast every week for free beef rendang.
Give us beef rendang, we'll do it.
We'll
Hold
do
at
it.
gunpoint.
That's our price.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to talk with you. I'm excited about the second round. We'll be all over social media. If people want to contact you, we'll put all your details, and we'd love for if people want to have a chat with you, follow along social media, all that kind of stuff. They can. Corey, once again, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, mate,
And
always.
we'll see you for the next episode.
See you in 5 minutes.
See you, bud.